Hey everybody, it's The Trout and welcome to another episode of The Trout Show. Thank you so much for stopping by. You probably clicked on this video or you're listening to the podcast because you're in a band and you want to be successful in your band, but you don't really know what to do. What's the next level? I got a great group of people here that are really talented and I'm struggling to figure out what's the next step that we have to take to be successful in our career in the music industry. Well, if you're one of those people, then this video or this podcast is specially for you because I interview one of the great people that are involved in the music industry. I've been a musician myself for decades, and I know how hard it is to get through. I'm still a songwriter and producer, but today's episode is with Hillary McClarty. Now, Hillary has been in the music business for years, and she's worked in all facets of it, A&R, promotions, and now she works for a magazine, an online magazine called Music Connection, which has been around for decades. And she's here to tell you, and she told me, what you need to do to be successful is in a band. I'm not going to, sugarcoat this. It does take work. Of course, the first thing you do is got to have some talent. But I understand it completely. If you're one of those people go, I've got these great people, but I don't know what the next step is. Well, this video is perfect. So, get yourself an adult beverage, sit back, and watch or listen. If you really want to take your music career to the next level with Hillary McClarty, that's next on The Trout Show.
The Trout Show is supported by David Smith with Edward Jones. David has years of experience of assisting individuals just like you with reaching their financial possibilities. There are times in our life that we come across financial problems and we don't know what to do. Maybe you had a relative that recently passed away and left you a large sum of money. However, you're not clear on what to do. If you live in the continental United States, I suggest you contact David Smith with Edward Jones at 469-372-1587. David can look at your situation and provide his expertise that he has been providing his clients for years. Don't tackle these situations by yourself. Contact David at 469-372-1587 to help you make decisions that are important to your financial situation. That's David Smith with Edward Jones at 469-372-1587.
If you found a band, you were out one night with John and you go, holy crap, these guys are good. I want to go talk to them. What would you tell a band that's just starting that really has the talent to move forward? How to get what they need?
There's some basics, depending on what they want. I mean, that's the thing about a band. They have to be in unison with what they want.
Correct.
Do they want to tour? Do they want to get signed? Do they want to get signed on the record side? Do they want a publishing deal and be writers? They have to be pretty focused as to what they want, and then to get there. Things have changed today. It is not the same world as when I, was in. They were sending A&R reps out when I worked for MCA Records. They don't do that today. They're looking on you.
Yeah. But
they're looking at numbers. And that's the thing about the digital age. Everything's quantified. So when you are posting things on Instagram or YouTube or Spotify and Pandora, you can quantify your streams. You need to make sure your numbers are up, whatever way you can do that. Asking your friends to listen, whatever it takes. Today, because CD sales are practically non-existent because people don't even have CD players anymore, the obvious place to hear someone's music is on Pandora and Spotify. Right. So making sure that at your gigs, you want to hear these songs, they're on these channels. Making sure that, whether you want to leave table toppers with a code that you can zoom in on and get right to the Pandora channel, or you just want to say it on stage, whatever it is, you just have to be very clear that you're messages getting through the massive amounts of messages we're getting every day
Oh, yeah.
from the TV, from the radio, if anybody ever listens to it. Most people listen to it in their car, but some people listen to podcasts. Some people listen to...
That's what I do when I walk. Every morning I get up next. That's why I listen to podcasts.
Yeah. So, there's buses, there's billboards. We don't realize it. We don't realize all this stuff's coming in, but it's all coming in. So to clear that, people that go out to hear music, God bless them. Well, because, there comes a time where people stop going.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it's health problems. Sometimes it's just ennui, I don't care. Sometimes it's transportation problem, whatever it is. Some
Right.
people really involved in the music scene and never stop. Some people just go for a certain time and then they stop. But when they're there, when they're in front of you, you have a golden opportunity to create some kind of message to the people who are hearing your music. And that's when you have to encourage them to listen to you online, because those numbers, those streams and those YouTube views are going to be the things that you're going to take to somebody to help your career. And these days, in my opinion, that, I know there's a lot of people out there that will sell management packages and things like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you're a band and you're not making any money, you don't have anything to manage. Management, it has like a dollar sign attached to
True.
it.
That is 100%.
Well, if you're going to pay anybody to do anything, you need to pay a PR person, because that PR person will get your name out there. And once your name gets out there, you're going to be contacted by a lot of people. Some people not so great, some people great. Pick a reputable PR place. Don't go for the cheapest one. It's always the money that's involved, but there's so many that out there that just, they don't care what you get. There are some really good ones out there, but
Well, and I can tell you a case in point. I've got I call him a friend, a Nashville singer. He's not young, he's 50 years old, but he's very good. And he came to me last year and said, well, earlier this year, can you arrange some horns? And I said, sure, I can get people to play on it, blah, blah, blah. But we started, I could tell that he'd been burnt. I mean, he actually is a teacher by trade, and he does this, and he moved to Nashville so he could start being and playing more. And I said, all right, so what happened? Because he was on Instagram or something railing about it. He says, well, I gave this guy like, I don't know what, $8,000 or $10,000. And he said, didn't do nothing. And I'm going like, did you learn anything? This is what I usually ask him. And they go, yeah, I learned it. I think that one thing is that, my point being is, how you have to find those people. And they're not easy to find. I mean, you can find somebody that's a PR person, but I deal with about 4 of them. One of them is extremely well known. I mean, he does Joe Bonamassa. He does a lot of blues people. And I know how much he charges. It's not, and it's interesting to me because of what you said. 2 things I know, and it's all the people I've seen or heard play, nobody gets up there and says, hey, go down and listen to my song. They don't. I don't hear them say that. And I'm not talking about big famous, they're not going to do that. But people that, I never thought about that. We're on Spotify. Here's where our album is. Go out and listen to it. We really appreciate it. They don't ever do that. The first thing they usually say, we have merchandise. Have you bought anything? That's where they...
You're going to have a much larger conversation about this with John, because, he wrote the performance book.
Right, yeah.
Part of that is,
next month, yeah.
I'm John M. My website, johnm.com. I'm on Spotify. I'm on, you have to do that multiple times, because somebody's going to walk in mid-set and they're not going to know who you are.
No.
And just say, I have merchandise. Did you buy any? That's just sort of after the fact. You being at the merch table and talking to people will mean a lot more than them buying a t-shirt. Truly.
It's kind of like I used to put on my videos, subscribe when they first started. You had a little button and all that stuff. And then I realized, and I heard people why would they subscribe unless they watch it? So, after they watch it for a few minutes, then you might put it up there. And I thought, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I don't even do it anymore. I just figure, okay, I don't. If you want it, you'll subscribe. I don't need to tell you that.
Right. But further to that point, you know, nobody gets on a stage thinking I'm shitty. So, but listen to me anyway, because I really want to be heard. Everybody thinks I'm really good. And that's good. You
Yeah.
have to have that to put it out there. But you have to be very, very careful who's blowing smoke up your skirt. Because people will compliment you, they will try to get you to do a bunch of stuff for free. They'll do all sorts of things. You have to be very careful
Yeah.
who, time is one of our most precious commodities. And
Right.
in a sense, it's more precious than money because you can make more money. You can't get time back.
You can't
So
get
when
time.
when this guy's railing about someone and being burned, it's not just the money, it's the time and energy and the
Yeah.
hope. And, I I come from the days when we did have record labels and signing people and stuff. That's all gone now.
Yep.
Everything is gone. You can put out your own record. That's the beauty of it, and that's the tough part of it. Everybody's putting out their own record. So how do you stand out? You've got to have a way to promote yourself that makes some kind of sense. And the people who work in PR are the people who know about that. And you have to keep looking until you find the right fit for you. But in you know in lieu of that, there are things you can do. There's press out there. There's different online magazines. I mean, Music Connection is like one of the few, that and American Songwriter are probably the two
Yeah.
that I'm dealing mostly in Americana right now. So I'm not
Right.
dealing in rock, I'm not dealing in blues, but I know that there's magazines like that. You have to go to this thing called the masthead, and I know you know what that is because you worked in the newspaper.
Yep.
That is where everybody who's a columnist or selling ads or whatever they do is on there, and they usually have their email. So you have to read that person's column and see if they're in that kind of music that
Yeah.
you're into. I mean, this is a research job that PR companies already have these relationships, but you don't have any money, but you really want to get your word out there. These are the kinds of things you have to do in order to promote yourself. You can't send your blues album to a heavy metal magazine and
No.
not going to happen.
No.
Music Connection is interesting because it actually involves every genre of music, from classical to hip hop to heavy metal to any genre you can think of, we talk about. And people go, well, how does that work? And it's like, I don't know. It just has for however many years. I haven't done the math lately of how old the
But
magazine.
I think that's why it's successful. And I had this conversation with an artist yesterday. He's very unique in his style, and he's not a country artist. He's not a rock artist. But I said being unique can be good and can be bad in the music business, especially if you're unique. People, oh yeah, he's really unique. But then other people are like, well, he doesn't sound like anybody else. That's the bad side of it. But in your situation, for lack of a better word, the Bible of music. In other words, it's kind of like variety, in a way. It's kind of the opposite because variety doesn't care what genre movie it is.
Right.
They just talk about everything.
Oh, the movie business in general.
And the music, and you're in a situation being successful with Music Connection that you can do the same thing. That opens you up to more. I think would open you up, and because you're in the business, to more people interested. Because then people go, "Have you?" Especially PR people. They had an article on Music Connection.
I'm constantly getting emails from PR people. That's why I know so many of them.
Yeah.
And many of them I've gotten to know personally and worked with for many years. But, the thing about it too is I can help people get a review in Music Connection. The digital format of the magazine, you can cut out your review and put it in an email and send it to a bunch of people. I don't know anybody that does that.
No.
What I do is if I've helped you get something in Music Connection, like even let's say you got a piece of music in a film. We have a film and TV column, so you would be mentioned.
Oh,
Oh, you know, s- blah 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 got his cut in CSI Origins. I take the whole page and I send the PDF to the person who had it in there.
mm,
They have now a way to communicate yet another story, which that's really what PR is, to keep
yes.
telling the story.
Yep.
And they could send it to other magazines. They could send it to all of their fans. They could send, just keep the momentum going. But that's what PR companies do, and that's what musicians don't really want to do. They want to play music and write songs. So that's the problem. But what you get with Music Connection is you get a chance to have a new music review, which is on a scale of 1 to 10, and there's never any 10s, so 9's the best. At the end of the year, we have the top 25 new music critiques. Then we also have the Hot 100 list, Hot 100 unsigned bands. If you make either of those, you can circle your name and send it out to people. I mean, there's all sorts of PR opportunities for people that get written up in our magazine, but people don't usually do it because there's nobody, if it's a solo act, the guy's probably juggling, trying to find gigs and writing songs and,
Right.
whatever. And if it's a band, nobody wants to do it. Sometimes there's one person in the band that can do it, but often none of them can.
Well, I think to me, being in a lot of bands, usually there's one driving force in the band. That's usually the person to put it together, or they're the brains behind the band. But in today's world, you usually can find somebody, because one of the things I tell independent people, or they're trying to promote themselves, you can't promote yourself. You got to hire somebody to promote you, because they get people calling you all the time, going, "Hey, I'm Rick with the Rick Band. Can we play in your venue? Who are you?" But if you're from Music Connection Inc., so to speak, I represent the Rick Band. You get a little bit more. It's a little
Well,
bit.
yeah, but you also have to have other tools. You have to have a one sheet. You have to have links to the music. You
All right, stop right there. Tell people what a one sheet is.
Okay, a one sheet is a document that introduces you, your band, your music, and is a pitch. It's like an elevator pitch. It's like if I was stuck with you in an elevator
Yep.
and you wanted to tell me about your band, what are you going to say in 3 minutes or less that's going to make me go, "Oh, that sounds interesting." We're a punk rock country band, we, whatever we are.
Yeah.
A photo would be good. Not a lot of photos, but maybe one good one. This is also something to talk to John about because he has it in the book as well. But a photo, links to your website, which your website has to be together. It has to have videos, current videos of you playing. It doesn't matter that the sound isn't really that good. It shows that you're playing in a venue with people there. This is what you want to portray to this booker.
Right.
We play to a lot of people.
Right. People want to come hear us. They want to come hear us.
It doesn't have to be the whole song. It could just be like a few seconds of the song.
Right.
But then you have to have links to the recorded versions of some of the songs so they can actually hear the songs, see if they like them. And then, perhaps, it's not necessary to Instagram or Facebook or any of that, but if you want to, you can. But then you may have to be really careful on your Facebook or your Instagram to just keep it band oriented. Don't be going off on, the lights at 24th and Central are too long and I can't stand it. Don't make it personal. Have a personal page for all that. Have a personal page for your politics and for all of that stuff. Keep the band page about music and direct people who are going to book you there. And then follow up. If they say we're booked until August, you call back August. I mean, you have. What I have had is they sell these in like places like Staples. So it's a Pendaflex file. It's ugly brown, and it has each month January.
I used to sell office supplies, so I know
Okay,
exactly what you're talking about.
I don't know what it's called, but
Well, are you talking
I
about
love this.
you're talking about the ones that fan out, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
it's like a Pinaflex, yeah, and it's
yes, it's
already
kind of
pre-made. Yeah.
so then, okay, I'm calling, this venue, and they're booked till August. When are you booking again? They say, well, we'll start again in July. Click in the July folder.
Yeah.
And then you write a little note on there what the guy said. So that when you call back, you go, yeah, I remember we talked and you said you were booked until August, but I could call back in July. They go, it's you again? No. I mean, I used to be that relentless ad rep that used to do that. And people were being like, what are you okay? What do you want? They
Yeah.
finally listened to you after
Yeah.
a long time, because don't think that just because your band is great and your mom thinks you're great, that Joe, who's booking this club, is going to think.
And that's the funny thing with young people. I always tell them the same thing. Don't listen to your parents. They're going to tell you great no matter what. So you got to go outside and find other people. And I'm not talking about your friends. You got to find people that listen to you that will tell you the truth. I said, if you want me to tell you the truth, I'll tell you the truth. But your parents are going to say, oh, yeah, he's really good. Or she's really good. Oh, the band's
Well, yeah,
really good.
you have to learn from your strengths and your weaknesses,
Yeah.
for sure. But the other thing that I heard at a conference recently, and it makes a whole lot of sense, is, and it was in regard to touring, but it could be used locally as well. So you see this band that's always being booked, and they play similar music to yours.
Right.
You contact them and say, look, we're trying to get going. Could we open for you? For no money. And you try to do some of that. Because what you want to do is, they're playing a similar kind of music, and so they have an audience. That audience might like you too. Just an idea.
Yeah. Well,
And especially for touring, what they've suggested is, like, let's say you want to tour Texas.
yeah.
Big state. So
Big state to Turin.
you'd
Yeah.
be touring it for like a year.
Yeah.
Well, you look in Dallas. Okay, these people sound like me. These people, you do internet research about these people, and you contact a whole bunch of them. Say, we'd like to open for you. This is our music. Send them your music. Send them your one sheet. Then the one sheet can be used in multiple purposes, but sometimes it has to be tweaked to speak
Right.
directly to what you need. But can we open for you for free? We're just trying to get some exposure in your area. Sometimes they'll let you. It just depends on, like, that moment in time when you ask the question, and then they're open. And that doesn't always happen, but when
No.
it does, it can be very helpful to a
What I
young man.
tell people all the time, since I was in sales my whole career, the answer is always no until you ask. If you don't ask, you're never going to get an answer.
Sometimes
And
it's no. Sometimes it's no for a long time, and then one
Yeah.
day they, okay, all right. I mean, I've had people call me back after 2 years and go, remember what you were talking about? It's like, because I usually give up. Like, if people don't contact me back for a year, I give up.
Yeah,
These days, I didn't before, but these
sure.
days. But
But I think the other thing about being in a band myself before is what you're saying is a lot of people, I think, this is just my own personal opinion about it, is they want to play, but they don't want to spend the time to get to the next level.
they don't know.
And that's probably the first thing you're saying is they don't know how. They're just sitting
Their
around
mind
going,
is wrapped around the music,
yeah,
and it's
that's
not wrapped
exactly right.
around the business that they want to be
They don't
in.
understand the business of music at all. And so they just think, I'm going to go out there and kill it. And it still doesn't happen that way. Even if you really are good and you get 1 million views, doesn't mean you're going anywhere after that unless,
Well, I mean, from my perspective, if you're just starting out, you got to start small. And even if you're 60 years old and you just decided, okay, I don't want to play in bars anymore. I want to be taken seriously and, whatever. So you start small. If I was your guy in Mississippi, if I was advising your guy in Mississippi, I would pick the best blues magazine in the US, and I would look in the masthead and see who's writing about the type of blues that I play, and I would send them an email. I would send them my music. I would continue to send them things about me, like where I played, what I did, who I played with. I mean, he had that picture with that famous harmonica player.
Yeah.
Just that. Get somebody who has some clout somewhere to be interested in you. one person. It can build from there. But, until you have that, you're just kind of shooting in the dark,
Yeah.
you're not really even shooting at a target. Similarly with my magazine, I'm willing to help anybody that you give my email to and with your recommendation. But what I could get them a review, I could get them a mention in one of the columns if they have a film or TV placement. But I'm not going to email them and go, "Did you copy it out of the magazine and send it to people? Did you do this? Did you do
No.
that? You made
You're
the
not-
Hot 100 unsigned list. Did you send that to people?"
You're not their mother.
Well, I mean, I can't advise everybody. Then I should go into business and charge people.
Yes, that's exactly
So,
right.
I just can't do that. But people have to think outside the box that they're in if they want to get to the next level, and it's hard. So
Well, it's called work. You have to work
it's
at
not
it.
just that, but some people just don't know what to do, like you say. So, there's music conferences that you can go to. There's tons of them. There's a great one in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, the Muscle Shoals Songwriting
I
Conference.
know. Yeah, I know the people down there. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Friend of mine. He's a tour guide. A friend of mine, acquaintance of mine, is a tour guide down there.
Yeah.
And I was down there a couple of
young
years.
woman. I met this woman who started this conference. She was at a party with her grandma. And seriously, and I'm blanking on her name right now. I'm so sorry. But she's amazing. And she brings all these songwriters down to Muscle Shoals, and they have tutorials and conferences and all sorts of things for songwriters. It's excellent. There's all kinds of songwriting conferences that won't break your back. This one I think is about $300. You have to
That's
pay
not
for
that
your
bad.
stuff. No, I mean there's songwriting classes here in Nashville with Rodney Crowell that are $8,000.
Yeah.
That's insane. But don't put that don't put that in your show. I don't want it. I love Rodney Crowell.
I'll cut that part out.
They all deserve every cent they get. Honest, I'm
Right.
just average person can't afford that. But
Well,
there's
it's
a lot of conferences around that are very instructional. The Americana Music Conference, if you're into Americana, which includes rock and blues, great people that come there and talk about all these things. You go there, you take notes, you meet other people that are in your situation, which
Right.
is just
Right.
starting out or trying to get traction, and you build from there. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, and
No.
not everybody's going to make it that even did all that stuff.
Well, that's it for this episode of The Trout Show. Thank you so much for listening. Appreciate it very, very much. And a special shout out to Hillary McClarty for coming in and talking about all her information. I hope that was helpful for you. If you want to know more, if you're a band and you want to know more information on how to get a hold of Hillary, you can either go to the musicconnection.com, or shoot me an email. It's rick@thetroutshow, rick@thetroutshow.com, and I'll make sure everybody gets connected. Also, a shout out to David Smith once again for supporting our channel. Thank you, David. And remember, for more information about The Trout Show, including everything, our other podcast videos, music coming out, visit our website at thetroutshow.com, thetroutshow.com. Until the next time, people, you know what I always say. It's only rock and roll, but I love it. See ya.